innocence, this wide-eyed, in awe, in touch with senses, this naivety, this opening the eyes and gazing at the world in new quality that I love and I see very directly in babies, is also within me, is also within you. We all have that aspect of ourselves, this deep innocence that we don't honor, that we reject, because it stopped serving us. It probably stopped serving you by the time you're 3 or 4 years old. You had to show some level of competence in getting with the societal conditioning and programming and show your intellect and your ability to be independent in this world. But maybe now you can reparent yourself and allow yourself to be that baby sometimes, to be in that receptive mode. Who needs guidance? Who is pure? Who is wondrous? How can you tune more into your senses during these times? How can you soften and be more present? Ding, ding. Hey you, I'm Anissa. Today's video is for anyone who's feeling their desire to soften. Maybe you want to live with more presence, you want to feel more cared for, you want to feel like you can tune into your senses, you don't want to be hustling and working so hard, you want to be able to be back in your innocence, then this video is for you. It is definitely a divine feminine rising era. I had a number of people come to me, namely women, but I feel everybody's feeling this exhaust of you overutilizing their left side brain, of always being in the planning, thinking, strategizing mode, and less in the presence, less in the creativity, less in the softer sides of us all. Most of my videos are reflections, sharing wisdom from my lived experience, as I believe that we are all each other's healers. We provide a mirror to each other to be able to see ourselves more clearly. Subscribe to this channel. And if you enjoy this video, hit the like button. So what you can expect from the video ahead, I really want to support you in honoring how you can continue to soften through my lived experience. And so I'll start with my writing. It is, been mainly leading with an affirmation and sharing some creative writing that I think provides a mirror for you to see yourself more clearly when it comes to the softening journey. And then more explicitly, I'll go into how this topic became relevant in this week and how I've been applying it and implementing it. And then our final end of the video I'll save for you is how you can apply it more directly to a practice that'll serve you in creating that softening in your life. Sense your innocence is the affirmation of the day. Most of us dropped our innocence as soon as we could. We acted as though we knew things, to show our parents that we were competent, learning words to connect with them, to validate the attention that they gave us. We had so much desire for love and connection. We were a bottomless pit, as many babies are, but we can't stay that way. We develop and the world asks us to give, to keep showing up, to show we have our footing. So we learn to walk and show our balance. We get applauded by every step we take away from being an inconvenience. We show and prove to ourselves and others that we are going to be a contribution to society. We are here to help. Little helpers is what most of us become. And in becoming that, we lose some part of us. Even though we might get fearful to fall after walking, we might be scared to speak and get choked up at times, but we just show our competence and push through. We grow into adults who push through, persevere, and are resilient. Some would even say independent. But the truth is hidden in plain sight. We are all interdependent. None of us got here alone. Someone fed us, clothed us, gave us shelter in those first few years of life. We need each other, though most of adults are too scared to admit it. The "I don't know," "Can you help me?" "I need you," are phrases that we reject. We run with pride and ignorance instead, until we stand across from that baby, their eyes beaming with purity, their innocence softening our hearts. Where did ours go? It's in you still, buried deep, and maybe so deep you can't see it in others. But it's still wanting to serve you today. Serve you in softening. Again, back into your senses. To feel the world anew each day. To ask for help. To receive more support. Innocence comes and wishes you balance. Welcome it. Times to soften. It's time to really embrace that innocence that is within us that we have rejected or suppressed through the years. This topic became relevant to me as I was doing shadow work this morning, to be honest. The way that I approach shadow work historically has looked a little different than in recent times. Shadow work is often perceived as doing some emotional excavation to understand what parts of you are hidden, your hidden self, and how can you allow that part of yourself to be seen, to be recognized, to be accepted, to be understood. People often think of shadow work as the evil parts of us, the bad, the darker emotions, envy, jealousy, these types of darker things, and I've covered that in previous videos, but it is also something else that was uncovered to me. So as you continue to purify and acknowledge all the parts of yourself that you might have kept hidden, that served you in some way, but maybe aren't serving you anymore, the more that you excavate and go within yourself, the more that you'll see there's more, and there's layers of some of the same things. Especially if you have generational pain, then you might be working on certain parts of that pain energy within your energy body for a little bit longer. For me, I've done some of my shadow work publicly in playing villainous roles and acting. What I feel less of these days is a burning desire. Always the people, places, things, experiences that we're attracted to and we want and we're grasping for, that we desire, especially if it's a burning desire. Usually what is behind that is the feeling. We're desiring to have a certain feeling. So if it's buying a new house, it's the desire for this new level of safety. It's a new level of security that we're desiring. And we can get to these feelings internally even before, and I highly recommend doing it before you actually have the thing, because you might realize in having the internal feeling of that expanded security, expanded safety, it wasn't actually the physical thing that you needed. So that's a very expensive purchase. But there might be other things in life that redirect us in different ways, and if we can get to the feeling state before, then we can know, do I need to move in alignment with something new, or is it just embracing further within myself this part that I might have ignored? As I was doing shadow work this morning, and I approached that in pulling oracle card and getting the indication that there was something blocked within me, and then I went into a place of creating a deep level of love through loving kindness meditation, ultimately Metta Meditation, and then bringing that same love and carrying that same love as I asked of the non-physical world to show me what parts of me were being blocked. And it was maybe not super surprising. I've been experiencing is looking at how cute babies are and just like, ugh, their innocence, their presence, just to be a mother carrying a baby, what a joy that would be. And going to that place regularly and being like, just stay-at-home mom life, parenting, what a joy. And I had not an understanding of the emotional side of it, though I did have a clear understanding of the biological side of it. And in sitting down and doing this Metta Meditation, what I unpacked was there was a tenderness that I was next needing to lean into, and this softening and this theme of wanting to come into our softness. It's often because we've not allowed this softness within us to exist. We want a softer life. We want to be laying at the beach. We want to be just focused on carrying a baby through the woods and seeing how the baby interacts with the world. But maybe we also want to be softer ourselves. So first what arose for me was this level of sadness. I felt sadness come up and I said, thank you, sadness, for showing yourself to me, because there's so many ways in which I suppress you and I don't need to anymore. I really value your delicateness and I value purifying force that you are. Whenever we cry, we have this cathartic release on the other side and we feel lighter and happier. It is a really purifying force. And even I can reject sadness because I grew up around parents who had so much sadness. There's an overload of sadness in my household, of depression and sadness. And then I was like, no, not for me. Bye, Felicia. And then I moved into whatever other energies of I can do everything on myself. And in the ways that we harden ourselves, it takes some reflection and looking back and saying, thank you, sadness, for coming back into my life. I can appreciate you now from a new stance and understanding the ways that you are allowing me a softening and a release, and I want to lean into you more. Behind the sadness was just general repression. I had to say, oh my gosh, thank you, repression, for showing yourself to me. You've been masking so much softness for so many years that's helped so many of my ancestors, right? We think we all came here from so much violence, and that isn't something that we need to carry in our bodies anymore. If you're watching this video, I really hope that you live in a situation that is safer than any of your ancestors ever got to experience. For me, it's very much the case. My father came here with nothing from Cuba, and so I feel very abundant to not be working in a factory. Like, I've just made such huge strides from slavery and my ancestral lineage. And I had to say to repression, thank you so much for allowing us numbing and coping and suppression of these harder, painful emotions and feelings so that we could persevere and be resilient, but I don't need you anymore. And really just allowed that release and welcomed it. And then finally, behind repression, we got to meet innocence as I was doing this meditation, and this emotion was flowing to me. Innocence. This wide-eyed, in awe, in touch with senses, this naivety, this opening the eyes and gazing at the world in new quality that I love and I see very directly in babies is also within me, is also within you. We all have that aspect of ourselves, this deep innocence that we don't honor, that we reject, because it stopped serving us. It probably stopped serving you by the time you're 3 or 4 years old. You had to show some level of competence in getting with the societal conditioning and programming and show your intellect and your ability to be independent in this world. But maybe now you can parent yourself and allow yourself to be that baby sometimes, to be in that receptive mode. Who needs guidance? Who is pure? Who is wondrous? How can you tune more into your senses during these times? How can you soften and be more present? That's the end of really my shadow work that I'll share with you around softening. This desire to soften and to live a softer life is becoming way more prevalent. I'm seeing that based on social media and who I follow, but also women in my life are coming to me and they're saying, I'm tired. People are saying, I'm tired. It's really a feminine energy wanting to be at ease that's within us all, because very much like this wounded masculine, and I keep saying I'm going to make a video about wounded masculine and feminine, I will, but ultimately it's the suppression of the feminine energy within us that has been not serving us. And now there's a desire to be in a more interdependent world, and there's going to be the recognition that we're all interconnected. And maybe you can be on the forefront of being a leader and letting people know that that softness that they crave, they do not have to sell every single possession and live on the beach to have. They do not have to quit their job to have. First, it starts with really the allowance of those feelings, of those emotions, of that softening within yourself. Start with that. Start with how can you allow yourself to return to that receptive mode, to return to that pure, innocent mode. How can you be more present with what's available to you right now, tuning into your senses, eating your meals in silence and tasting every single flavor within that. There's so many opportunities for us to be in more awe and wonder, and we don't have to reserve that to birthing a baby, speaking to myself. So I want to share that gift with you. And the first step in really softening, or the most powerful step in my opinion, is really returning to that state of love. Surprisingly, love power is just so powerful that it starts to dissolve anything that is not supporting our energy bodies. It just starts to dissolve all the things and creates opening and natural softness within us. And so I'm not really going to tune into the shadow work side of it as deeply. I probably will in the future, and I'll share with you even how you can kind of tack that on to this next part. If you want to feel the softening, it really comes back to being in your heart space. One of the best practices for really tuning into our heart is tuning into a Metta Meditation. Metta Meditation is a Buddhist practice of tuning into loving kindness and sending that loving kindness first to ourselves, and then to someone, and then to all. So it is a practice that you can also do to see your enemies as somebody you love and allow that softening, because anything that we dislike in others, anything that we're othering, is a quality that exists within us that we are suppressing or repressing. We might not even be conscious. It might be so back there that we're like, oh. So often coming back to this love and this state of deep love is so healing. So I'll walk you through how to practice this. We'll get a very expedited version of it. So you'd bring yourself, like any other meditation, to a quiet and comfortable place where you can really just start to close your eyes and tune into your physical body and send it love and breathe deeply. And as you bring your attention to your physical body, then start to direct your attention within your heart. So Hridaya is our spiritual heart, which is the center of our chest and kind of like the heart chakra. You can also do that, or you could just do your literal heart, the organ, and send love there. Send love to yourself. And you can begin to say loving affirmations such as, may I be safe, may I be joyful, may I be at ease, may I soften, may I feel my innocence, may I feel peaceful. Next, think of somebody that you deeply love. Maybe it's a friend, a family member, old relative, old coworker, a partner. Envision them in front of you and then send them that same love, picturing them in your mind. Just envision sending them this transmission that you've built up in your heart towards them and say, may you be safe, may you be peaceful, may you feel your innocence, may you have love. Then come back to your heart and think of that enemy, or think, if you don't have a particular enemy, if there's somebody that you're challenged by. If there's somebody that you think is an other, you're not sure why you don't care for them, but you don't care for them, picture them in your mind and do the same thing, saying, may they be peaceful, may they feel love, may they feel their innocence, and transmit that same love that is within you to them. Then you can expand this further. You can think of collectively an entire society, the whole world. May everyone feel innocence. May everyone feel love. May everyone feel peace. May everyone feel this softening that they're so needing. So I believe the more that we sit in these types of meditations, the more we support the world by starting with ourselves, really starting with the softening that we need to feel within ourselves. I think just coming back to the recognition that in this beautiful life, we do deserve to feel more peacefulness. We do deserve to feel more innocence, more receptive, more love, more in touch with our feelings and our intuition. We do deserve that, and we create that by giving it to ourselves first, inside of ourselves. Then we can start to quit our jobs and leave and live in a farm and XYZ if you want. Let's create more here for everyone, because I don't know that many people who don't want that kind of lifestyle, who do not want more ease and more grace and more peacefulness, who do not want more innocence. There are folks who are in positions of authority that may not make it conducive to us, but there's so many more of us, I know, that are wanting to soften. And if we allow that softening within ourselves, then we really do shape and change the world. Be the change you want to see in the world, as Gandhi says. Actually, the original quote is way more profound. The original quote is, "We but mirror the world. All the tendencies present in the outer world are to be found in the world of our body. If we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. As a man changes his own nature, so does the attitude of the world change towards him. This is a divine mystery supreme. A wonderful thing it is, and the source of our happiness. We need not wait to see what others do." Mahatma Gandhi. The true quote is hitting so much harder, softer. Anyways, let me know what resonated with you from today's video in the comments. Like this video. Subscribe to this channel if you've been tuning in. Wishing you so much more softening in the days ahead. Appreciate you being here.